real cases before a real judge.
Plaintiff Christina Dress met the defendant while they were both serving time in prison. Christina and the defendant started dating, but when Christina went back to prison, she entrusted the defendant with all of her property, yet she never got it back. Defendant Cheryl Brongill says she and Christina were together throughout a period of drugs, crime, and prison sentences. But Cheryl has completely turned her life around. Cheryl's countersuing for unpaid storage fees and attorney fees.
Start with you.
Your Honor, I met Cheryl about 12 years ago in prison. We were both drug addicts and in prison for identity theft and other fraud-related charges. I'm not proud.
How long were you all in prison?
She was in prison for a couple of years. I was in prison for a couple of years. I got out shortly after
Did you
her.
get drug treatment in prison?
No, we
Went back to drugs after prison?
Yes, sir.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't know why the state just wastes our money and then they cry poor.
Yeah.
You know, what good does it do to send you to prison for 2 years? It costs probably $50,000 a year to take care of you. Don't give you any drug treatment, which would have cost probably $20,000. So we spent $100,000 putting you in prison when we could have spent $20,000 giving you in-house drug treatment, which is likely to have been successful. But instead, we just put you in prison for $100,000, let you out and say, hey, go back to the dope house. It's right around the corner. That's essentially what we do. And then people wanted to cut Medicaid and Medicare from the state budgets for these senior citizens. We could take it from the prison budget if we made sure that these folks were rehabilitated before they come home. But you became associated with each other in prison as mates or
No,
what?
as friends.
Friends?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When I was released from prison, we soon entered into a relationship. After that, began seeing each other and such, and became very involved. Just as a sidebar, if you will, I just wanted to, as part of the embarrassing part of being in prison, of course, and the return to prison due to relapse, which Cheryl and I both have done.
I'm sure.
During one of my prison stints, I did write a book in conjunction and with cooperation with Mary Kay Letourneau. Mary Kay Letourneau, who was, you might remember.
With a kid or something?
Yes, sir.
Had a relationship. She was the teacher.
Yes,
had a relationship
yes. I
with
thought,
the kid.
since I was a writer anyway and found it therapeutic to journal while I was in prison, I thought, well, this is a good opportunity for me.
Good.
And anyway, yes, sir, I just wanted you to know,
Has
Your
it
Honor.
been published yet?
Yes, sir. I brought you a copy.
All right, good. Thank you. Congratulations. As you see, people are proud to hear how you've turned your life around and used your skill in a good way. Now, you're suing her for unreturned property. Before we get to that, I'll let her give some background.
Okay, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I've been clean and sober, sir, for about 8 years.
Good.
I'm a chemical dependency counselor right now. And I'd like to let you know I am responsible for my actions. Christina never held a gun to my head or anything like that. And we've had a very up and down relationship. It hasn't just been one prison sentence. It's been many prison sentences, lots of drugs, many crimes, lots of prison sentences.
While you all were mates?
Yes. While we were all roommates. Many, many, many prison sentences, many, many drugs, many, many.
Like how many? You keep saying many, many.
Every kind of drug there is probably.
But how many prison? How many times?
4 times.
4?
4 prison sentences.
And how many years? 2 years, 3 years out of all?
Maybe about 5 or 6 for me.
That's pretty much your background on everything. Can we get to the property now she's suing you about? Go ahead and tell me about.
Okay, just a little nervous to be in front of you.
No problem.
A little nervous.
Why?
So,
you used to judging? Yeah. Go ahead. You see? And most of them weren't as nice as I am or as playful. They were pretty stern.
I do enjoy being in front of you in a suit and not an orange jumpsuit.
All right.
Defendant Cheryl Brongill dated the plaintiff, whom she met while they were both serving prison sentences for fraud-related charges.
Tell me about this property.
So in 2006, when I did return to prison, I entrusted all of my belongings to Cheryl, and she assured me that she would take care of everything. A month before my release, she made arrangements with my mother, who is here, Barbara. She made arrangements to drop my things off at a certain time. Cheryl came when she knew my mother would not be home, dropped off just random trash, Your Honor. I mean, nothing that belongs to me.
What type of things were missing, ma'am?
Sir, everything I own was missing.
Okay, do you have a list?
Yeah, I have. Yes, I do,
Will
sir.
you give that to Doyle?
Just along with just to show you that I had so many other things. I just wanted to keep it simple.
Very good. Let's see it. Ma'am, what do you say about her property?
Her property, number one, the property was in affordable storage for 2 years, and here's the copy.
Let me see it, please. Who and whose
And
name?
it was-
And whose name?
My mom and my daughter put all of the stuff that.
Who agreed to care for her things?
Well, I was in prison. My mom took care of both of. We
Your
would have lost
mother-
everything. Both of us would have lost everything if it wasn't for my mother and my daughter.
Who was responsible for her things to your knowledge?
Me.
Very good. And what happened to her things?
Well, the Department of Corrections came into the storage
Let's see that.
and took several items.
What is this?
The Department of Corrections didn't give me a list of what they took, but it does say that they were going to send it to me, and they have never sent anything, so I don't have anything to show you.
So you handed me this, however, to say what?
That the Department of Corrections did. They said that they did come into the storage and take some items.
All right, that's your defense, is that the Department of Corrections came and took the things.
They took some things, yes, sir, Your Honor.
Do
They
you
didn't
know what
take-
things they took?
No, I was in
Well, how do
prison.
you know they didn't take it all?
Because after I got out of prison, I got a U-Haul and I removed everything from the storage that I could and moved it to my mother's up on Camino Island after.
Do you know what items of hers you moved?
I moved everything that was in the storage. I mean, I didn't
And you
go
don't
through-
know what items they were. All right, where did you take her things?
to my mother's house.
And what happened to them from there?
Then I put them in a pods unit,
Uh-huh.
and the pods unit ended up to be about $300 and some a month for about 4 months. So I had the pods unit delivered to the condo, and I emptied
Did
out.
she ever agree to pay you any storage fees?
No.
Okay.
And I returned her
and you
property.
All of it
Yes.
to her?
Except there was a Bible that I returned when we went to court in King
Everything
County.
else you returned to
I
her?
returned everything
Oh,
else.
sir,
Do you remember
please.
earlier telling me you didn't know which things were hers?
Well, I don't know what she's got on her list.
Okay, but
It's
you
kinda-
also don't know what you returned, whether it was all
her
the
whole
things
chest,
you took.
her curio. I mean, important things, pictures.
I could show you what she returned, Your Honor, if you're
What?
interested.
Did you see a watch, ma'am? Ma'am, did you ever see a watch?
No.
Did you ever see 4 antique German Steins?
They were actually, yeah, I had seen them, but they had been stolen. And
How were they stolen?
they were stolen, and they're actually on
Stolen
a farmer's
from where?
insurance policy right
Stolen
here.
from where?
From an apartment
Whose
in
apartment?
Spokane.
How did they get to the apartment?
We took them. We were living
We, as
together.
in the two of you?
Yes, we were together.
Ma'am, did you take them to an apartment that the two of you had together?
Your Honor, I can simplify this for you, so clear this
No,
up. So
no.
you-
The 4 antique German Steins, were they in an apartment the two of you controlled together?
Yes.
Did you know that they were there?
Yes.
What happened to them to your knowledge?
They were at her apartment.
You
My-
just said they were at the both of your
No,
apartments.
this was a long time ago.
No, I'm talking about the most recent, the time
most
yes.
Yeah, the most recent, sir, was while I was in prison. My mom went to see Cheryl, And Cheryl
No, ma'am,
showed
we're talking about where these things were at the time that you allege they were taken. She says they were in a unit that was co-owned by the both of you. You said that was true. Then when I began to delve into that, you start talking about that was a long time ago.
No, because
both of you are on the way out of this court unless I hear something very clear, concise, and definitive.
Defendant Cheryl Brongill dated the plaintiff, whom she met while they were both serving prison sentences for fraud-related charges.
Ma'am, maybe you can provide some clarity. State your name.
My name is Barbara Torgerson.
What do you want to tell me about this list of items that she claims she disposed of or otherwise took?
Okay, a year and a half ago, I visited Cheryl Brongill at her apartment in Shoreline, and she asked me over to show me all of Christina's things were safe because I was concerned. And the Steins were there among other things on the list you have. And then she delivered garbage to my house while I was at the doctor.
How long after?
A year and a half later, when Christina was going to be released in December.
Did she come and see them, as she says?
She came to my apartment, yes,
All right. Did you move them to another place prior to dropping them off?
Yes, I moved from Shoreline, but also I just want to say.
No, ma'am. You can tell me what I'm asking you. Did you move them to another place?
I did not move them to another place, but
you
yes,
just
I
said
have
you
moved.
did. Both your claims are dismissed. You're
Okay.
both very confusing. They're offsetting in their amounts. You want $5,000. You want $5,000. Neither one of you have proven your case. It requires proof. So both your cases are dismissed. Have a good day.
Everything, it was very confusing, and we both know, and it's very, very hard to explain in a courtroom, and things were moved and things probably were lost.
I'm dumbstruck.